Good evening, everybody. Boy, that's hot. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Mr. Moore, go ahead and call the roll.
Carl Smith. Here. Daniel Gray.
Here.
Ava Coleman.
Present.
Jim Moore, present. Ron McDaniel.
Present.
Dina Brockway.
Here.
Lauren Martin.
Here.
Laura Walker.
Here.
Everyone here.
Very good. You'll join me as we stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge. Mr. McDaniel, will you lead us in the pledge, please? Yes, I will.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, the first thing I have on our agenda is a legal update. So Mr. Richardson is here with us, not in the library this week. He's fine. In person.
Good evening.
You good?
Good evening. I don't have a lot of legal update for you, but one of the cases that I mentioned last time we've resolved. It's a special education case that, let's see, is that a bio Me Too? We went to a resolution conference in August and came to an agreement, and it just took time to work out the form of the settlement agreement. And I have that here. I don't know if, with your indulgence, I'd like to present that and get your approval on the settlement agreement. I'll walk through the terms. I have copies for you if I can hand those out. We can do that later or whatever your pleasure is, Mr. President.
You good now?
Okay. So we don't have secret settlements in public entities, but we'll try not to refer to the student's name any more than we have to respect their privacy. But the terms of the settlement agreement were the entry of a individualized education program, or IEP, was agreed to at the resolution conference. That's referred to in paragraphs 2 and then 3. There was a follow-up with some occupational therapy services that are being provided. My understanding is the student's doing quite well with those services and is making good progress. As always with these, when there's an attorney involved, there's the opportunity for the parent to have attorney's fees reimbursed. And so we came to an agreement on those at $3,000. The lawyer asked that not be included in the dollar amount, not be included in the settlement agreement, but you're entitled to know, and everybody else who asks, I think, is entitled to know. So $3,000 is the only cost of that. Which, as far as settlements go, if the parent wanted to push the issue of the attorney's fees, we'd end up in federal court fighting over that. And so $3,000 is kind of a bargain either way. Even if we won, it would cost you somewhere around there or north of it, even at my discounted for you rate, to resolve that issue. So Dr. Owen and I felt like this was a fair settlement. Ms. Darrington was involved as well. And so unless you have any questions, Mr. President, a motion to approve the settlement, we appreciate it.
I make a motion to accept this settlement agreement.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you. That's it for your legal update.
All right. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, next on the agenda, we've got our facilities update. WRN Baldwin and Shell with us this evening.
Hello, I'll keep this short. We had Taylor Elementary, the new building bid last Thursday, and Baldwin Shell's compiling all of that, so we won't have a number for a few weeks. But we do think it is right on where we thought it was going to be. Biomeda will bid this Thursday. The middle school project's going well. I'll let Baldwin Shell give you an update on that. But that's really all we got.
Questions for WER? Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Seems like he just reiterated the bidding process for Taylor is underway. We're going through that the next few days, and we'll compile all of our numbers and have a report to you sometime in the next 2 weeks. There again, we're going to go through that same process here shortly with the Biomeda. The middle school addition's going fairly well. We're tracking our schedule pretty well. Everything's going good. For the report, exterior framing is complete. All the waterproofing is about 75-80% complete. The roofing is about 80% complete. We're working on MEP rough ends, first and second floor. Fireproofing is also complete. Interior framing, first and second floor. First floor is about 70%, and we're probably about 15-20% on the second floor, waiting on the door frames. Did have a little issue with the masonry, working through that. Should have hopefully another sample to approve for the architectural firm by the end of the week, weather pending. If y'all didn't hear, our brick come in on our gray brick a little bit too light. So we had to check on different options for there, but I don't see any long-term issues. I think it's going to be resolved pretty quickly. I did get not a delivery, but a factory ship date for the RTU6 that we're concerned about. It's going to be April 12th. If that holds, we're still in good shape. We won't have any issues getting that installed before completion date. Any questions on the middle school addition?
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Dr. Stein, do you have anything you want to share? Everything is good? All right, well, that takes us into the superintendent's report. Dr. Ola.
Sure. Good evening, board. Have a few updates for you. First, we have a presentation from one of our community organizations, one of our partners, the Persevering Pearls of North Pulaski. So we invite them to the podium for their presentation now.
Good evening. I'm stepping in my other role. On behalf of the Persevering Peers and our program committee, Uplifting Communities, I know that Mr. Kenneth Miller at the middle school had put out a call for some cold weather donations at one of the events, and I was like, okay, girls, ladies, let's please answer this call. So our group has collected 508 cold weather items, which include socks, hats, and gloves. Scarves and gloves. And Dr. O, we'll get with you about as far as I get you tonight so we can see how we can distribute them.
Can we get a picture? Chisa, can we get Mr. Miller and the ladies have a picture? Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Yeah, I know I want the board, so y'all come out.
Are you doing this now?
Yes, all right. Everybody. We can just like this. So basically,
Okay, count of three. 1, 2, 3. Keep smiling. One more. Thank y'all.
And I just wanted to personally thank you for the donations. Definitely our scholars are going to feel warmer. And so definitely appreciate that support from the ladies. So thank you. Next, we'll go into our report to the public. We have a video, and then Dr. Walker will come to round us out. So if you would all pay attention to the monitors.
Welcome to the Jacksonville North Pulaski School District, where scholar achievement is our primary focus. Our scholars are always growing, learning, and showing the amazing things they can accomplish. Building futures every scholar every day is not just our tagline, it's our mission. Across our school district, teachers, principals, and support staff work with our families to ensure that each Titan graduate leaves our schools college and career ready. This annual report to the public showcases the important work taking place here at JNPSD. Let's take a look back at the 2021-22 academic school year. The school year began once again with COVID-19 precautions. The administration laid out key supports and guidance for protecting scholars, employees, and the school community against the global health pandemic. One precaution being the requirement of face masks in school buildings and on school buses. Contact tracing and screenings became an everyday task. At the start of 2022, state regulations were modified and school districts in Arkansas were no longer required to conduct contact tracing, quarantines, or mandate face masks. Despite COVID-19, JNPSD schools stayed safely open all year long. And throughout it all, education emerged stronger than ever. Here are some of our highlights and accomplishments from around the district. Governor Asa Hutchinson recognized alternative education programs in Arkansas, and our elementary ALE scholars scored big time by receiving the highest achievement award. Scholars showed significant improvements on their math scores, and for that, they were honored at the state capitol. Another job well done for scholars and teachers at Warren Dupree Elementary, now known as JES. The school received the Outstanding Educational Performance Award after scholars showed high growth in math on the ACT Aspire. Air Force Junior ROTC cadets earned the 2021-22 Distinguished Unit with Merit Award for the fourth year in a row. Our program was one of only 95 units to earn the award and the only one in Arkansas. During the past 4 years, our cadets have volunteered nearly 11,000 hours in the local community. Of course, we can't forget to mention that JNPSD is a proud Purple Star School District committed to serving the needs of our military families. Lester Elementary received the 2021 Excellence in Design Award from the American Society of Interior Designers. Baldwin and Shell presented the award during a school board meeting. Just call them stars in the making. JHS drama scholars walked away with their first superior plaque for their one-act show, Smarty Pants, by Bradley Hayward. It was the first time scholars competed as an acting troupe and their highest honor received. It's not every day middle school kids become published authors, but in the Jacksonville North Pulaski School District, anything is possible. Special education teacher Mrs. Kathy Easton and her scholars wrote and published their own book entitled Kindness Matters. Television news photographers had their cameras rolling as students signed copies of their book. From books to bricks, congrats were in order to the Titans and Lady Titans for winning the 5A District Conference Championship. Ribbon cuttings were held at the beginning of the school year at the all-new Jacksonville Middle School and again in January at Jacksonville Elementary. Jacksonville High School continues to move toward excellence with its involvement in the Academies of Central Arkansas. Through career pathways, scholars receive relevant learning that provides them with real-world experiences and sets them up for success after high school graduation. We are very proud of the amazing students who represent our district through athletics, arts, academics, community service, and other activities. JNPSD is governed by an 8-member Board of Education responsible for establishing policies for the operations of the district. The Board of Education works with the superintendent and administration to set the direction of the school district with a primary focus on the education and well-being of our scholars. School board members play an essential role in ensuring the financial integrity of the district. Here's a breakdown of the financial status for the 2021-22 school year. The district had an annual budget of more than $39.5 million. We received state funding in the amount of $7,413 per student. The amount per student raised by local taxes was $2,848, with the remaining $4,565 in state participation. The fiscal year ended with a legal balance of $2.5 million, and a total of $5.8 million was transferred to the building fund for future projects. District leaders established strategic goals for the school year through the school improvement plan. Priorities included student achievement, culture and safety, plus recruitment and retention. And we found Jacksonville High School scholars are achieving in the classroom, as evident by the graduation rate of 79.25%. The safety and security of all scholars and staff is our first priority, every day, all day. We employ dedicated security personnel who are trained in crisis prevention, intervention, and resolution of incidents. Armed commissioned school security officers are located at each of our 7 campuses. These dedicated men and women work closely with the Jacksonville Police Department, Jacksonville Fire Department, Pulaski County Sheriff's Office, and first responders to prevent safety problems and address them when they do occur. Here are more facts about the 2021-22 school year. The district had an enrollment of 4,045 scholars. 57% of those students were considered low income, and 13% were eligible for special education. All of our JNP schools are accredited by the Arkansas Department of Education. Our district participates in school choice, which allows public education funds to follow students to the schools or services that best fit their needs, whether that's public school, private or charter schools, or homeschool. JNPSD is fortunate to offer free breakfast and free lunch daily to every scholar in the district, thanks to our involvement in the Community Eligibility Program. Our Child Nutrition Department served 540,000 meals from August 2021 to May 2022. District leaders understand that when families have their basic needs met, students are better prepared to learn. And that's why facilities matter. JNPSD is on track to have all new schools by 2024. We have 4 down, 2 to go. We understand that better environments result in greater learning potential. And as we move forward into the future, we will continue to strive to become a high performance school district by hiring and retaining quality teachers, improving test scores, and bringing the Jacksonville, North Pulaski communities together. Our vision for a brighter future is and always will be to become the model district where every learner is valued and empowered to become a successful, contributing member of society. That's awesome.
Thank you. Of course, our very own Mrs. Chisa Williams was the developer. So thank you, Mrs. Williams. Next, we have Dr. Walker. She's going to come and provide the next phase of our school improvement plan.
Thank you, Dr. OF, and Ms. Bilbrey is going to join me as well. I'm going to share with you about our ESSA report, and it's called Every Student Succeed Act. Most of you have heard about our letter grade that we receive. All schools within the state of Arkansas receive a letter grade. So I'm going to take some time this evening to just kind of quickly share with you all of the items or things that go into making up that letter grade and what our action plan is as a district to ensure that our students are on a trajectory of academic growth and successful achievement. So if you're looking at the slide that's in front of you or on the screen, it breaks down or just gives you the definition. I won't read that to you, but it tells you what ESSA stands for. So I want to take a few moments to ensure that you understand what the ESSA score is. And so as you look at that, the ESSA score is made up of 4 categories: weighted achievement, the growth indicators, school qualities and student success indicators, and the graduation rate. And so when you look at this weighted score, the first one is weighted achievement. And weighted achievement is a measure of achievement and it's calculated on a point system. So if you look at that point system, we have students, if a scholar scores and needs of support, we as a district will not earn any points for that particular scholar. If they score close, then we get a .50, and then ready is 1 point. And if they are exceeding, we can earn up to 1 or 2.5 points. And those are points that equate to 35% of our ESSA score. And then on the next one is our growth indicator. When students take the test at 3rd grade, they are put on a trajectory. So if you look at that very first dot, that's where they are. They set the trajectory at 3rd grade. And then if you look at the next blue dot, which is 4th grade, it is above the line. So that means that that student exceeded their growth. Then if you move on up, at 5th grade, they're below the line. So that means that particular scholar did not meet their growth. And then you move up to the next grade, they're still just a little bit above, so they made some achievement. And then as you look at the next area, which is the blue dot, that's 7th grade. And so that scholar is now on track with expected growth. And then at 8th grade, they met their particular growth. So that's how they predict the expected growth. And I always say that that's a moving target based upon each grade level of where that scholar tested, because then that changes the rate of their projected growth. And this is how the growth indicators, this is how we get a growth score. And that's for grades 3 through 10th grade, they get a growth score in math and ELA, which is our language arts, and then 4 through 10 students in science, and then grades 1 through 12 in English language proficiency. Those are like our ELL students. These are our school qualities and school success indicators. These are areas in which we can earn points as a district that will impact our letter grade. So one of the main things I want to focus on is our student engagement. We get points for that, and that's actually our student attendance. So it is very important that our students come to school every day, and if we test at least 95% of our scholars, that has a major impact on our letter grade. So we need the support of the community to ensure, working with parents, and we have a campaign called Attendance Matters, so we're really focusing on that. And of course, we have things in place for our language arts, our science. And as I go along in the presentation, Mrs. Bilbrey is going to share with you our action plan. The next slide, please. And this is the graduation rate. If you recall in the report to the public, Mrs. Williams talked about the graduation rate. And the state views our graduation rate as a 4-year adjusted cohort and a 5th-year adjusted cohort. And all that means is that in the 4th year, when scholars start 9th grade, they are expected to complete school in 4 years and graduate at the 12th year. So we get points if they graduate on time. And then we have a 5th cohort. Those are the scholars who were in that initial 4-year cohort, but for some reason did not earn the credits that they need to graduate. We can still get points if they stay in that 5th-year cohort and complete those credits and graduate. Next slide, please. And these were the findings district-wide that we found in common. But before we get to that slide, these are our letter grades. We wanted to be as transparent as possible. I know I saw Mr. Gray kind of drop your head, but we have to be transparent. We have to own it. Okay, we're owning the data. But I want you to look at that very last column. We did see some growth. And we have to consider that within all of that, we have some COVID years. We have scholars that are coming back to us that haven't been in school. So we're trying to get everybody back on track. So we did see some growth, and we are very optimistic with our action plan that we're going to see continued growth. Next.
Dr. Walker, if I can just chime in quickly. And board members and audience, I definitely want to point this out. Principals and their guiding coalitions have really looked at this and looked at the SQSS indicators. And a lot of them have noticed that if we would have had our students here a lot more, tested them more, most of our schools would have moved letter grades. And so, and even at the high school level with the student learning, service learning credits, if we had reported, as you noted in Mrs. Williams' report to the public video, with the number of volunteer hours that our ROTC unit had been awarded this past year, that would have pushed us over too. And so it's a lot of making sure that the data is entered correctly and being reported to the state accurately so that our schools and students and staff members are credited those points as indicated by the SQSS indicators.
Thank you, sir. And as we go along, you will see where we are addressing those in our action plan. So if you look here, these are the things that we noticed in our building. That growth in every building, for the most part, is on pace with the state average. And our high school growth outpaced the state average. And there's a significant drop in achievement growth with our Hispanic population in some of our buildings. So as a part of our action plan, we will share with you how we're going to address that as well. There was also a significant drop in our English learner population. Next slide, please. And of course, I've already addressed the fact that attendance in every building has decreased, and we are putting measures in place for that, and science as well. And with our weighted achievement, along with the SQSS, there were major concerns in all buildings. As Dr. Owa has said, there were some things that we could have done differently, some small things that we could have done that would have had an impact on our scores, that would have raised that. And then reading across our district, it has decreased. And a lot of that we know is attributed to some of the COVID, and then we have had some staff turnover, so we're having to retrain a lot of our teachers. And this is our action plan that we are implementing, and Mrs. Bilbrey is going to share our action plan.
Good evening. As Dr. Walker mentioned, our teams really dug into this complex formula that is used to calculate the letter grade. And when you dig into that, we found some common through lines that impacted the growth score or the ESSA scores of many schools. And so those were student engagement, which we've shared is basically their attendance, science achievement and science growth, reading on grade level, final GPA, computer science, and community service. And so when we think about attendance, already you may have seen district campaigns titled Attendance Matters on social media. And so that is a big push within our district, communicating to the community, to parents, to scholars that you being here every day is critical. And a big part of that campaign is educating parents. Sometimes parents don't realize when I bring my scholar to school 2 hours late, they've missed a critical portion of their day. And so also within each school, they have developed their own attendance incentive plans to help tackle that particular area of opportunity. And then science achievement and science growth. Dr. Walker mentioned that in the elementary world, that was particularly low. And so currently right now, there's a committee of elementary science teachers working together to design curriculum supports that will be implemented as soon as this coming January so that we can address some of those science achievement needs. And then of course, reading on grade level, you know, reading is our #1 priority. And so some of the big things that are part of our district action plan, we have a revised instructional model. And that model places a large emphasis on strong tier 1 instruction and also being able to support that tier 1 instruction with tier 2 intervention supports. And that is all centered around grade level material. And then within that instructional model, we also have to ensure that there's protected tier 3 intervention time for all of our scholars when they need it. And you've probably heard about this. In the elementary world, that's what we refer to as Titan time. In the middle school, it's their foundation block. At the high school, it's what I need time, the win time. And so a big part of our action plan is we made sure that every school's master schedule has that protected time. And so with this revised instructional model, scholars have access to all 3 tiers of instruction as needed on a daily basis, and they're not missing one for the other. And this is the first year we can say that every school has the opportunity to ensure that all scholars receive all 3 tiers. And then, excuse me, and I'll go back just one more. So another part of the reading on grade level action plan, we have very targeted resources. So in our literacy world, we have implemented science of reading approved curriculums at the elementary world and at the secondary middle school world. We also have implemented Lexia reading intervention programs at every school site. And we also have on-site instructional coaching in various forms, Solution Tree, JNPSD instructional facilitators, certain curriculum, vendors, benchmark, phonics first, to continue to support our teachers as they provide rigorous grade level instruction. And then final GPA. So we currently are working to create a proactive plan so we can ensure that the initial credits earned are actually counting towards a final GPA. Because what happens is if we don't ensure that that scholar gets credit, the initial credit recovery does not impact that GPA. They're still stuck with that GPA they got. So working on a proactive plan to address that would include monitoring and support at various intervals through the semester to ensure that we catch a scholar before they don't get that credit. And then we can ensure that GPA is the best possible score it can be. And then computer science, starting with the current ninth graders, which is our class of 2026, they will take a computer science course that's required for graduation. And so all of the measures have been put into place to ensure that we address that requirement. And then community service, as Dr. Walker alluded to, our high school scholars have numerous amounts of community service. However, we didn't have the proper procedure in place to ensure that it was documented and reported correctly to the state. And so the new process is being implemented to ensure that all of our community service hours are accounted for and reported correctly. And we did want to talk to you a little bit about our current progress and some celebrations we have related to our action plan. And so I mentioned Lexia. And we implemented this year Lexia at every school site. In the elementary world, they have Lexia Core 5. And in the secondary world, they have Lexia Power Up. And this is an additional support for reading intervention at all of our schools. And we selected this because it really has the structure, rigor, and individualization that's required to provide equitable learning opportunities for all of our scholars needing reading intervention. And it provides that in a way that doesn't overload teachers with additional work. And one thing we love most about Lexia is it gives us a full view of progress by student, by class, by school, or the district without having to stop instruction to conduct an assessment or a test. And one thing I'll tell you, the research shows that users in the Title I funded schools, they showed more than 3 times the reading gains compared to those schools who were not using Lexia. Additionally, during the pandemic, over 40% of students using Lexia exceeded their math growth targets. And so far this year, if you look at this graphic, the top bar is where we started. And the bottom bar is our current as of December 1st, last week. So the gray is what you see students working below grade level. And so in the beginning of the year, only 18% of our scholars were working in or above grade level material in the elementary world. And as of last week, 41% of our scholars are working in or above grade level material. So that's a 23% gain just thus far this year. So we're very, very proud of that and excited. And then the next slide, you'll see this is Lexia Power Up in our secondary world. And theirs is divided into 3 different categories: word study, grammar, and comprehension. And you can see the bars are similar depictions. When we look at word study, only 2% of our scholars were in the advanced area, and now 16% of our scholars are working in advanced material. So that means 23% moved out of their foundational material and into intermediate or advanced. In grammar, we had 8% move out of foundational into intermediate or advanced. And then when it came to comprehension, we began the year with only 9% of our scholars working in advanced material. Now we have 19% of our scholars working in advanced material. So 12% of those scholars moved out of the foundational area. So having success with that portion of our action plan that we wanted to share, that very current data we just received last week. Are there any questions?
I have a question. Do we get letter grades each year, or is it items?
We are now. They actually waived them for a year or 2 during the pandemic, and now we're receiving letter grades now. It's in the state law for letter grade,
And they, in the evaluation at the end of the year, I'm assuming?
based on the summative assessment.
So, I hired a reading and math specialist with an addition to the normal.
We have, and Dr. Walker,
Yes, we have reading specialists who work with our dyslexia students, but we also hired instructional facilitators for all of our schools and math facilitators. And they work they work with our teachers, they model instruction, they go in and support teachers as well as scholars. And they're also being trained through Solution Tree on the best techniques for coaching adult learners.
This indicates in the increase in the numbers, the fact that we've hired these reading.
This is our first year with our instructional facilitators. And so one of the things we're focused on this year is as we go along and assess our scholars, we're looking at the evidence to see how effective our instructional facilitators are.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Well, sorry, that was really loud. So one letter grade doesn't represent schools. So is there like a more detailed breakdown of like aggregate areas? So, you know, like awareness for the board or just in general to show certain areas where we've got success, but then other areas where, you know, that's driving us down. I know you kind of talked about it, but does that report include breakdowns in those sub areas or is it just?
We do have sub-reports. They're very detailed. If you would like some copies of those sub-reports, which really breaks down that letter grade, we can share that information with Dr. Owa has access, but we can share it with you all.
I think it would help me and Terry as we kind of, you know, carry the message with the families on base and stuff of, yeah, maybe the letter is an F, but in this area that matters to you, it's better or worse. Like just that kind of transparency would be helpful to us.
We'll also share the link to My School Info. Our information has just, last month became live on My School Info, and it actually breaks down the ESSA school index, the letter grade, all the components, the indicators that make up that. And you will see, as Dr. Walker and Mrs. Bilbrey indicated, and Chisa, Mrs. Williams mentioned in the video, that we've had success along the year. And we didn't move letter grades like we would have hoped, but our students are growing. And one of the things that I've asked the team to do is continue to celebrate and highlight those growths, because our schools, our young people, our teachers are a whole lot better than those letter grades. And so we want to highlight the success that they're having each and every day. And so through the intervention programs like Lexia, just our career and college academies, those internships, the certifications, we want to make sure that that's our narrative and not just a letter grade. So we definitely will share additional information with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the last thing on my report, sorry for the long report, but you know, once a year, we wanted to highlight, we received a recognition from ASBA, and the ASBA Awards Program recognized both individuals and whole boards for their continuing education and pays tribute to individuals who've attained specified training development levels. And so this semester, we had one board member to achieve 25 hours of ASBA training credit for the first 6 months. And this award and pin goes to Mrs. Lauren Martin. Mr. Board President, that concludes my report.
All right, next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. We've got the minutes from the November 7th meeting, assistant superintendent's reports, and a financial report. Is there anything on that list that needs to be pulled out for discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve as presented.
We'll move.
All right, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, so behavior interventionist stipend, Dr. Owa.
Yes, sir. Of course, we have behavior interventionists in our building, and as they proceed or progress in their educational career, they are able to receive certifications. And so we definitely want to be able to keep our trained interventionists in district as they work to provide interventions and supports for young people. So we're before you, we have a recommendation to include a stipend for their certifications like we have for other classified and licensed staff members that pertains to their professional job. And so we're asking that you approve the 2,500 for a full-time ABA behavior and interventionist certification, 1,000 for part-time ABA behavior interventionist. And we did pose, as per law, this change to the policy to the board, to the PPC. All classified members voted, and you have those results before you. So because of the favorable vote, we do ask for approval of this recommendation.
All right, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Motion and a second. Any discussion or questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Is
Yes,
there
sir.
a period of time they have to work before they're considered full-time or part-time or certain hours?
It's based on contract that they're hired on. We have some part-time behavior interventionists or full-time interventionists. So it's not a period of time that they would have to work before they're awarded that. But if they have a full-time contract, they would receive the full-time stipend.
And that is for the end of the school year. I mean, we're in the middle of the school year now. They'll have to finish the school year to get the 2,500.
No, sir, not if approved.
Okay.
Sir.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right. Next item we've got is the tuition reimbursement policy change.
So, board members, this is actually a process action item to come back before you. You actually approved the increase of 70,000 last semester, but because you approved it during my superintendent's report, there was not documentation to show board actual approval written, and so we wanted to bring it before you again in the actual action item format for approval.
So you've already voted and approved it, but you want us to do it again because it wasn't in a minute, correct?
It wasn't in the minutes and it wasn't a formal
It didn't
action
happen.
item, right? Documentation wise, it didn't happen.
So move.
We've got a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor again?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously again.
Thank you.
All right, next item, we've got ESS subpay.
So when the board approved the new salary schedule for this current year, last year, we did not increase or revise the sub pay. And so just to make sure that the substitute pay for the areas that are listed before you, the long-term sub, certified, paraprofessional, clerical, and nurse, that they're consistent with our current salary schedule, we're asking for the adjustment to be made for this school year. And so the request is to approve this recommendation.
Any questions on that, board members? All right, if not, I'd entertain a motion.
So move.
Got a motion and a second to approve the ESS subpay change as presented. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, asset deletions.
And so before you are three items as indicated by our board policy and state law. Board members have to take action on removing assets that are no longer in use that we would like to delete from our inventory. So we have those three items listed before, and the recommendations is to approve these asset deletions.
Questions? Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? opposed? That passes unanimously. Changing the name and use of Pinewood.
Yes, so although we're here currently, we need an official vote of action for the board to change Pinewood Elementary School building to the Pinewood Professional Development Center, and the use of it being for professional development for our staff.
Why can't we name it the Daniel Gray?
Because in the policy,
Veto.
the Pinewood Professional Development Center.
Is that a motion? Dina makes a motion and Ron seconds it. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Legal transfers.
You have before you one request, parent requesting the legal transfer of one scholar from Jacksonville North Pulaski School District to Bologna School District. The application is there before you. My recommendation is to deny the request.
All right, we've got a recommendation to deny. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second to deny the request for legal transfer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Roll call.
Daniel Gray,
Nay.
Ava Coleman,
Nay.
Jim Moore. Nay. Ron McDaniel, yeah. You made the motion. I did. Ron McDaniel. Yay. Dina,
Nay.
Lauren, Laura,
Nay.
I've got 5-2. Nay, the motion fails.
43.
Jim voted nay. You didn't change his vote.
Yeah, I did. You did.
Okay. You didn't say that, but okay.
I made the motion.
All right, so 4-3 fails.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion to approve or deny the transfer?
I make a motion to approve the transfer.
We just voted that down, 4-3. So you want to deny the transfer?
To deny the transfer.
Okay. Got a motion on the floor to deny the transfer.
I'm confused now.
No, you just
Okay.
deny.
I'm sorry. Okay. We're all confused. I'm sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to
Approve the transfer.
Okay. I'll second.
I think Laura, you seconded it, right? All right. So Ava's got a motion to approve the legal transfer out of the district to Bologna. Okay. Yeah, so any discussion, any more confusion from Mr. Gray? Ms. Coleman has made a motion to approve the legal transfer. Laura has seconded it.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Let's do the roll call.
Daniel Gray,
Yay.
Ava Coleman,
Yes.
Jim Moore. That's right, that's right. Ron McDaniel, no. Dina,
Yes.
Lauren,
Nay.
Laura,
Yes.
4-3.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, motion passes 4-3. All right, next item we've got is personnel, and we've got the superintendent's annual evaluation on the agenda this evening. So for that discussion, we'll move into executive session. Let's move into executive session.
Addendum.
Oh, yeah.
Got to wait about addendum. Before we move to executive session.
We're in executive session, we'll get that one get back. We're not discussing that further.
All right.
All right, we are back in open session. The board just began the process of discussing the evaluation for Dr. Owa. That's on our annual to-do list that we are required to do. And in January, we will take formal action on that. So just beginning the process. Everything is good, so we'll leave it at that for now. We have an addendum before us for personnel that we need to add to the agenda. So I would entertain a motion to add the addendum that's before us. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, so now we have the addendum plus the regular personnel list in our agenda. And any discussion on personnel will need to be held in executive session. Does there need to go? Okay, so we're going to move into executive session to discuss personnel, and we'll be back.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call us back into open session. Next item on our agenda is the consideration of personnel as amended with the addendum. Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the personnel recommendations.
All right, do I hear a second? All right, got a motion and a second to approve the personnel recommendations in our packet and the addendum as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, so the next item we've got on our agenda is student disciplinary hearings, actions. And those are in your iPads. I think I said that right, but those are on your iPads.
Oh, no. I'll share with them.
Okay. All of them are uncontested, so we will begin with student number 1. I gotta get out of this one. So student number 1. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what.
You're sorry.
All right, student number 1, do I hear a motion? Motion and a second to uphold the superintendent's recommendation for expulsion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Moving to student number 2.
Do I hear a recommendation or a motion on student number 2? Okay. Do I hear a motion on student number 2?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second to uphold the expulsion recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Student number 3. Do I hear a motion on student number 3's recommendation? Student number 3?
So moved.
Motion and a second to uphold the expulsion for student number 3. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Student number 4. All right, student number 4, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second to uphold the recommendation for expulsion for student number 4. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Student number 5. All right, student number 5.
Motion to accept. Second.
Motion and a second to uphold the recommendation for expulsion on student number 5. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Student number 6. All right, is there a motion on student number 6? Motion and a second to uphold the expulsion recommendation for student number 6. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Finally, student number 7. All right, regarding student number 7, do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second to uphold the recommendation for expulsion for student number 7. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. I believe that is the finality of our student disciplinary action. Next item I have on our agenda is adjournment.
Make the motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank y'all for coming out. I think Clint's already gone, but I'd like to thank Food Services for making me feel miserable all night because I ate too much turkey and stuffing.
It was really good.